Hazbin Hotel Season 2 is done, and I was surprised when I kinda enjoyed watching it.
I liked it.
I decided, against my better judgment, to give Hazbin Hotel a chance, and it was alright. I don't think it was peak cinema or anything, I just think it was pretty fun to watch. It's not exactly stellar at character development, but I got really into the music this season, especially Brighter. Fox was probably the best part of the season, since he was a much more in-depth character than Adam ever was. The season had a lot of strengths, like the animation, the music, the voice acting, but a decent amount of flaws. Like how Charlie is characterized, how some characters are dumbed down for the sake of the plot, and what I'd really wish the show would address, Valentino. A warning for this point forward, this video is going to spoil some elements of Hazbin Hotel, and will cover sensitive topics such as physical and sexual abuse, rape, and sex slavery. Look, moving forward, I'm just going to assume you're familiar with Hazbin Hotel. People know it, a lot of people love it, and a lot of people hate it. And for some reason, a lot, and I do mean a lot of people tend to woobify this guy. What's his deal? Why? Well, if I'm honest, it's probably because he has one of the coolest character designs in the show and phenomenal voice direction. Yeah, I'll say it, I can't pretend this Valentino fella is not well designed and well acted. But I can definitely say the way he's portrayed by the show and in fandom spaces is not ideal. Why isn't it ideal? And why haven't I said what the real issue is yet? Well, it's probably because if I say it too early into a video, I run the risk of YouTube's bots demolishing all my hard work. I gotta be careful out there. Now, what's wrong with Valentino? Valentino is one of the three main antagonists of the show's second season. The V's, composed of Vox, one of the few characters I actually like, Valentino himself, the character we're going to talk about, and Velvet, a character who doesn't feel interesting because she doesn't have any complex rivalries or relationships to any other character. Women-driven stories, am I right? The V's are not good people. A lot of people in this show were not good people. Let's get this out of the way. These characters are in hell. But what makes this Valentino guy so different? From his first appearance on the show, Valentino was portrayed to be a manipulative, toxic person. His first appearance in Season 1, Episode 2, Radio Killed the Video Star, shows him texting Angel Dust, a character we'll talk about later, in a very manipulative way. Here you can see him expecting Angel to drop literally everything to be at his beck and call, using aggressive language, and cursing him out. So from this alone, this little preview, we can infer he's not a good chum. That's great, because nobody is arguing against that. Again, hell. Valentino's character design is an interesting one, and it's one of my personal favorites, but as to why he's a moth is debatable. The only reason I bring this up is because a close associate of mine didn't realize he was a moth, which I called him a blind idiot. Valentino could be a moth for many reasons. It could be in an ironic sense, as moths are known to eat clothes and cloth, something that Valentino likely has a large, lavish collection of. It could be because silk moths are known to be used in the production of lavish silk clothes, not unlike the robes that Valentino's wings could be based on. Valentino also has the ability to blow and emit this red smoke, which could be in reference to pheromones moths use to attract mates. I also heard it's possible he could be based on a tobacco hawk moth, a moth that can apparently consume nicotine and expel it as some sort of defense system. I got that one from a Reddit post, so don't quote me on that. I looked into moth mating habits and I really didn't learn anything useful, so honestly, I just want to think he's a moth because he is. I don't know how it's related to his past life or what it means symbolically, yet. Maybe in the coming seasons we'll get something, but for now, he's a moth. Deal with it. Let's get to the point of controversy, Episode 4, Season 1. This is the episode where the show goes to great lengths to paint and properly villainize Valentino as they should. From this episode, we learn about his main modus operandi, making pornography, which is fine. If that's what the guy wants to do with his time, that is A-okay, who cares? But what isn't okay is the fact that he literally owns sex slaves. Slavery! Please don't try to tell me that he only owns Angel Dust. This man beats and physically abuses his employees and workers on a daily basis. The idea that he only owns one of them is laughable to me. The position he is in nearly every relationship he is abuser, oppressor, physical aggressor. The only character he really submits to in the series is Vox. And that's not really what we're talking about right now. As an audience, the scenes where he physically and sexually assaults Angel Dust are shown to us to make us hate him and feel bad for Angel Dust. And it works. From this point forward, I no longer liked him as a character. In a typical show, this character would be painted as an irredeemable monster, a villain because of how he treated one of the star characters of the cast. However, Hazbin Hotel is a show about redemption. Redemption is the primary theme of the show, and I could genuinely see a possibility where morally complicated characters, like Valentino, could be handled with the care they need to align with that theme. Make no mistake, being an abuser, sex trafficker, sex worker, exploiter, and rapist is a huge amount of bad. But I think if the show handled itself in a more mature, nuanced way, it could be possible to expand on a character like this and, in the end, allow him to still be that monster, but one that has depth enough to either change for the better or just be a better written character. I'm not saying we should make some alternate universe where Valentino decides to stop being a rapist one day and sell puppies from a roadside stand. I'm saying that it's possible for him to actually be the morally complicated character that I assume the writers want him to be. But he isn't. He is still the same abusive rapist he is portrayed as here. Despite uplifting Angel's story of survival, having an entire moment where he admits that he gets drunk and abuses drugs and sex in hopes that maybe, just maybe, his abuser, who contractually owns him, will leave him alone. And then the show makes jokes like this. It kind of feels like this show is trying to downplay Valentino's identity as a sexual abuser. Like, whoa, that was pretty funny. I'm just saying, how is the audience supposed to find this funny when we've been shown the lengths that this character will go to torture another character we're meant to care about deeply? Sexual abuse is an extremely sensitive topic to many. Writing a character as a sexual abuser and having him be part of the main cast means you have to be ready to tackle the nuance it brings as a writer, which, from what I've seen, isn't an easy thing to do. The solution here is to just treat the situation with the impact it deserves. In Season 2, Valentino is again shown being Angel's abuser. Under his influence, Angel is forced to be hypnotized and spy on his friends to further the V's goals. And again, this isn't treated as nearly as big a deal as it should be by the show. He even gets a sad little moment because, oh, Fox used to be so close with me, but now he's a big dickhead. Oh, I am so sad. You are a rapist. And to top it all off, in the finale of Season 2, good finale by the way, when all the chips are down, all the characters come together to essentially pull a Whoville on this exploding super weapon. Valentino and Velvet join in to stop this thing with the power of friendship or whatever, and Wait, go back. I'm sorry, did you just fucking smile at your friend's rapist, the person that literally owns your friend and makes him work 16-hour shifts in the evil-ass building? I don't think this is indicative of Charlie's character being poorly written, even though Charlie's character is poorly written in the early part of Season 2. I think the writers of this show want to have their cake and eat it too. They want Valentino to be an abuser. Valentino should be a morally complicated character. A sex trafficker, a rapist, an all-around villainous character. But at the same time, they want him to be a fun character, a silly guy you can ship with other characters, someone you can write little fanfics about, and someone who has feelings and gets sad. Ooh. When Valentino is written in this back-and-forth manner, it comes off as immature. Astoundingly immature. We as an audience are meant to take the abuse of Angel Dust seriously. However, we're also meant to sympathize with his abuser being sad and laugh at the little jokes of him beating the shit out of Angel Dust. I mean, Hazbin has a bit of an issue when it comes to giving sexual assault the weight it deserves. This isn't news. In fact, nothing I'm saying really is. I feel like all these points I've said are pretty commonly made. You've heard these before, right? But for all the people out there who are head over heels with Valentino apologists, if you will, if you love a character who's morally ambiguous, conventionally attractive, slender, known for having sex and filming it beating and raping people, boy, do I have a character for you.
I'm Glenn Quag.
Hey, will you sign a petition to overturn Mayor West Van?
B-Boy.
Glenn Quagmire is a side character from the adult animated sitcom Family Guy. And I would argue that Quagmire, the Glenn Quagmire, is handled better as a character in his context than Valentino is in Hazbin's. Quagmire is a 61-year-old pilot, veteran, He has a home with 60s style decor and goes out drinking with the clam with the guys. He is a smooth talker, wears colorful clothing, and despite what he may think, he's probably a queer man. And like Valentino, he is a rapist. In the early seasons of Family Guy, there are several instances of him committing sexual assault on various different people.
Hey, thank God you know CPR.
What the hell's CPR? Dear Diary, jackpot. Oh, damn it! Hey, come back!
The punchline of all these jokes is rape. It is that Quagmire is a rapist, and he rapes people. I want to note that I am not glorifying this. I am just stating the fact that in this era of television, jokes like this were by the public seen as acceptable, whereas now, they are not. Before I continue on, what else does Quagmire have in common with everyone's favorite sexual abuser? He has committed physical violence on multiple occasions, mistreats those he has sex with, has committed murder multiple times, he dresses colorfully and needs glasses to see properly. By now, you should be able to see that Glenn Quagmire is a pretty shitty person, and a lot like Valentino. But Family Guy has been on the air for years, and Quagmire is still a reoccurring character. So, how does Family Guy handle their rapist character better than Hazbin Hotel? It's simple. He just doesn't rape people anymore. To be entirely fair, Family Guy is a pure comedy. The jokes and gags in this show come before everything else. Characters in Family Guy hardly ever progress, evolve, or change intentionally. Most change in characterization is brought on by changing writers, flanderization over time, and whatever the writers think would be funny at the time. And at the time, the current time that we are living in right now, the public does not think making fun of the victimization of women and minorities is funny. Unless you're a Hazbin Hotel fan, of course. Quagmire in the modern seasons of Family Guy is still portrayed as a very perverted and sexual character, but he's not often portrayed as an outright rapist. On some occasions, it's referenced or brought up.
Well, they made it through the whole season. Now can I have my own show, Peter?
Quagmire, you're a rapist.
But it's always quickly stepped around or brushed aside, as the current joke landscape doesn't really allow for the audience to focus on it. The reason why Family Guy can get away with simply stepping around these old jokes and keep this character around is because, firstly, Family Guy never characterized any of the abuse instances in depth. It never showed us a darker, evil side of Quagmire and how this abuse affects another character in a deep and motivating way, which is something that Hazbin Hotel did do. By making Angel Dust's abuse a part of his character, the audience gains the perspective that, wow, abuse is really serious and this Valentino guy is a monster for putting Angel Dust through all this. We never really see this done on a deep level with Glenn. We know he's a rapist, we know he's not a good person and not someone we should root for, but because Family Guy doesn't explicitly show the effect actions like sexual assault might have on a character that Quagmire did this to, most of the audience isn't directed to care about it. Another reason is that Family Guy is an episodic series, and viewers can just pretend none of that ever happened because the show doesn't follow any narratives that spawn across multiple episodes. Glenn Quagmire is a character that's a lot more similar to Valentino than most realize. The difference is, the writers of Family Guy know how you're supposed to feel about Quagmire and how to elicit those feelings, while the writers of Hazbin Hotel don't know how to do this with Valentino. I'm adding this little bit in post, but another fun thing we can say about Quagmire that we can't say about Valentino, Quagmire has actually attempted, unlike Valentino, to redeem himself. In the Family Guy episode Blind Ambition from Season 4, Quagmire is spotted spying on Lois in the women's bathroom, and after this, he is threatened by the town of Quahog with expulsion, unless he gets his urges under control. With the help of his friends, he actually works to stop this inappropriate behavior, albeit briefly. With this in mind, it is completely inarguable to say that Valentino is a more redeemable character than Glenn Quagmire, a man who actually made an effort to work on himself and control his toxic behavior.
Welcome to the goddamn digital circus. My name is
Glenn Quagmire.
I am your bitch.
You know, one thing I love about Hazbin Hotel is all the biblical characters. I mean, St. Peter, Lucifer, Judas. The real cherry on top of this mishandling of Valentino's character is how he's handled publicly. I mean, outside the show. A character like this really shouldn't be getting his face plastered on things, but oop, here's him drawing and acting all cute for the camera in universe. Again, downplaying the abuse he enacts against one of the show's main characters, who we are supposed to care about, by the way. I think it's really weird that there have been multiple efforts to make the rape character likable to the audience. But absolutely none of these attempts even try to have Valentino address the fact that he is a bad person and that sexually assaulting and enslaving people is bad.
It's not nice to do that!
Look, yeah, sure, it would be awesome if Valentino wasn't an abuser, or they handled his character in a way that allowed for him to arc out and semi-redeem himself, but they won't, for some reason. They being the writers. You can make all the little tweets about Valentino and Vox holding hands and going on picnics as you want. That man still owns sex slaves and beats them. Like, for example, here's a cast member just saying, yeah, I had Valentino creep on Lucifer because he did it to Charlie. Little treat for the shippers, smiley face. It's just fucking immature. I know that Hazbin Hotel is not a show for a mature audience. It's a show for teenagers. I've been a teenager, and trust me, it fucking sucked. But I get why stuff like this is put in. Hazbin's audience loves shipping. They love seeing their favorite demon lords duke it out and get edgy and sing angsty, occasionally really groovy songs. I'm telling you, Brighter is gonna top those charts, baby. Sing it with me. But these characters being well written and nuanced isn't a concern for a greater chunk of the audience, which is why we have issues like Charlie being dumbed down in season 2, pretty much all of this scientist guy's development happening off screen. Lute gets built up to do some crazy shit, but instead gets told to sit in the corner by Abel, and in the My Little Pony-ass finale, Charlie gives the man who one of her closest friends a smile. You're doing good, pal. Only for the plot to remember, oh yeah, Angel Dust is a abuse victim a minute later and give us a cliffhanger about it. The greater audience is concerned more with playing house with their favorite characters. I think Alistair and Vox should make out. No, I think Sherry and Pinchas should make out. And that's pretty much the most concern most people have. And that's fine, honestly. I think there's really no harm in a show serving this purpose and leaning into what its audience wants from it. It's a little fan servicey, but if it's not hurting anyone and people like it, what's the problem? With this in mind, I just want to make the factual statement that Glenn Quagmire from Family Guy is a better written character than Valentino from Hazbin Hotel. It's outright factual and it cannot be disproved, but you are welcome to try in the comments below. I will be happy to listen. Quagmire has not been a controversial character for years, while Valentino remains as Hazbin's biggest blunder from the standpoint on how an audience is meant to react to a morally complicated character. Overall, I just wanted to put into perspective how a lot of people who get way too serious about their favorite characters look. Would you make shipping posts, stan accounts, or beg for merch with Glenn Quagmire? How about Harvey Weinstein? Perhaps Jeffrey Epstein. At the end of the day, Valentino isn't real. He's not a real person, he's a fictional character. He can't come out of the screen and get ya. But he's a fictional character that is written and handled extremely poorly. And it sucks. I enjoy his design. I think there was real potential in creating a mature, complicated character that people could study and talk about with a little more weight and nuance. A controversial one, sure, but a character people could really dissect and one's writers could use to tell a more interesting, mature narrative. But he isn't. He is a racist and an abuser, and pretty much no matter what, if you go around shipping a racist with people and theming your profile around one, fictional or not, people are gonna look at you funny. I'm definitely gonna look at you funny, weirdo! If you've got a problem with what I've said today, come get me. Come get it. Twitter is right here. Come get your sick burn, jerk-offs. Just know that the bug you're fighting for is one of Epstein's strongest soldiers. Ciao!